Hey, welcome to Classic Performance, and I should say good morning from Classic Performance. We're here just as the sun comes up, and we've had a couple of requests, and we're going to do something a little bit different. We're going to do a cold start on our old 3500 Chevy 454 big block. I've had a couple of folks inquire about the truck. We did a little video on it, kind of the reveal when we found it out on the farm, and brought it home. Haven't done anything with it since. It's just been kind of sitting here. We got it cleaned up, looking good, running good, driving around a little bit, but that's about it. So let's do a cold start. And down here in the southeast, it doesn't get quite as cold as it does for you all out in the Midwest, and certainly up in the Northeast and those parts. So this morning I've got my gauge here, and you can see it's we're right at about 21.3 degrees. So that's pretty chilly for us in the southeast. So I figured it's a cold morning. We've had a little cold snap come through here. Of course, it'll warm up and be beautiful today, but you know, now that it's in the 20s, that'd be a great day for a cold start. So let's go ahead and get in the dually. We open her up, and as you can see, we've got this truck cleaned up beautifully on the inside. Little frost on the windshield, but nothing too bad. And we're gonna get in here and put the key in, and my foot is not on the gas or anywhere like that. We just turn the key, hear that fuel pump come on, and away she goes. Well, okay, there you go. She's running. Truck starts right up no matter what the temperature is. Like I said, a little frost on the windshield there this morning, which is, you know, kind of rare for us here in the southeast, but a great day to do a cold start, because you need a cold morning to do a cold start. Let's take a look under the hood of the big block Chevy, and I'll tell you a little bit about the Mark IV and Mark V 454 big blocks. All right, so we'll go around and look at the business end of the 454, and this is the Mark V 454, the later iteration, which came out in 1996. There it is, your fuel injection. I've got a little bit of issue with squirrels here. You can kind of see some of the debris from the squirrels, and just so you can hear me better, I'm going to go ahead and turn it off, and we'll talk about kind of a little bit of the history of the big block Chevy. So the big block Chevy came out really in 1963. It was called the Mystery Motor. They came out with it in February of 1963 at Daytona for the Daytona 500. Nobody knew what it was. The R&D was kept under wraps for the whole time, and they showed up. Everybody, all the competition, thought they were going to bring the 409 again, the W motor. But lo and behold, the Mystery Motor shows up, which is the derivative of the big block right here in 1963, and it was the 427 cubic inch. It debuted to the public in 1965 as a 396, and many of the GM platforms, including the Corvette and the Camaro. And then in 66, they jumped it to 427 cubic inches, and that 427 cubic inches was available in the Corvette, but only a 396 in the Camaro. They never wanted to put the 427 in the Camaro along with the Corvette for competition's sake. So the 396 was always in the Camaro, 427 was in the Corvette and some of the other larger platforms. But if you look at the big block, and this is why they call it a big block, you look at the size of the valve cover here on this engine. What I've got is, this is a valve cover from a 1969 Z28 Camaro. So this is a small block valve cover, and I'm gonna put it right here. I don't know if you can tell, but doesn't really show very well in the picture because this is a little bit closer, but the big block valve cover right here is substantially larger than the small block counterpart. And if you grew up back in the 70s and even into the 80s, as I did, you probably had a subscription to Hot Rod magazine or Carcraft magazine, or both, as I did. And you know, big block and small block motors were it for Chevrolet, and the small block motors, you know, were called the mouse motor. And you might remember the big block motor right here was called the rat motor. So this motor has been around for a long time, and it really stayed in production. This is the Mark V variant, which came out in 1996, which has the one-piece rear main seal, just some other general upgrades, but it was in production until around 2000, and that was the end of the old traditional cast iron block and head big blocks. So they ended in about 2000. However, those motors are still in production today by GM Performance Parts, and you can go to the GM Performance Parts counter and you can get a crate big block still today. Very popular in offshore marine racing and other applications. So these motors, even though the 454 is about the biggest, or 496 is about the biggest production motor put in vehicles, they still sell them today, and they jump them up to 502 cubic inches, 572, and 632 cubic inches. So this motor, still in production today, goes all the way up to 632 cubic inches, and they're monsters, and they make a lot of torque. And they also consume a tremendous amount of fuel. So that's one of the reasons, if not several of the good reasons, why they discontinued this motor, because it was very fuel hungry. Also, these big blocks, so they were called the mystery motor, the Mark IV and the Mark V here. They also called them, if you might remember, the porcupine motor. The reason they call it the porcupine motor is these heads had canted valves, so the valve stems were angled. Okay, so if you take this valve cover off, these valve stems are at an angle. They don't come straight up and down like they do on a small block Ford or a small block Chevrolet. They're at angles because these valves are canted in the bore, in the cylinder. So the head has canted valves, and they call this the porcupine motor. So a little bit of history there on the big block Chevy. I'm a big fan of them. They run great, they make great torque, they make great horsepower, very reliable, and they're kind of a dying breed since they haven't been in production vehicles for a little over 20 years now. So you're seeing less and less of them. But anyway, that's kind of your tour of the big block Chevy. So what we'll do is we'll close the hood on this. We'll crank it back up and give you a couple revs on the way out now that it's up to temperature, and that'll do it for us here on Classic Performance. So if you like classic cars, boats, trucks, airplanes, and other vintage vehicles powered by gasoline, subscribe to Classic Performance. We'd love to have you. Hit that notification button and give the video a thumbs up and a comment too if you like. So good to see you again, and have a great day.